What's up, Freckle family? Welcome back. I hope you all had a great weekend. It's Monday, August 8th, and I'm your daily trivia host, Ian Finer, aka Lord Trivia himself. Freckle Daily Trivia consists of 5 everyday questions with weekly rotating topics. Each day you play earns you a raffle ticket towards amazing weekly prize draws like NFT airdrops, whitelist, toys, collectibles, and more. For this week's trivia, we are partnering with one of my favorite projects in the space, the ghost with the most, Aavegotchi. And this week's theme is none other than spooky movie trivia. So I'll be asking you all things related to horror movies, spooky lore, scary characters, and more things that go bump in the night. Aavegotchi is an amazing project with an incredibly deep ecosystem filled with opportunities. Aavegotchi is also the NFT gaming protocol behind one of 2022's most anticipated NFT games, the Gotchiverse. Check out this video from Aavegotchi.
The Gotchiverse is an MMORPG where players use Aavegotchi NFTs as their Web3 avatar to build harvesters, reservoirs, decorations, and other NFT installations on their Gotchiverse land parcels. Chat with friends to coordinate alchemical channeling plans, or simply add a GM using in-game chat, text bubbles, and emotes. Defend the Citadel from the feared Aavegotchi arch-nemesis, the Liquidators, and farm your land parcels for FUD, FOMO, Alpha, and CAT. ERC20 tokens, collectively known as Gotchis Alchemica, the 4 elements of the Gotchiverse.
Don't miss out on 2022's most anticipated NFT game. Head over to Aavegotchi.com to learn more and follow @Aavegotchi on Twitter for all the latest updates. Prizes this week include an incredible lineup of NFTs from the Gotchi gang, including this Gen 1 Spook Show Aavegotchi, worth well over 1,000 USD. Also up for grabs are amazing prizes from our sponsors at Funko Pop Toys, NFT Laser Engravers, Stance Socks, Roosevelts, and other spooky themed prizes, including this shirt I'm wearing from Culture Kings. Culture Kings is one of our monthly sponsors, and we'll be giving away a bunch of their clothing. Check out this shirt, check out this jacket. Culture King stuff is amazing. I'm also wearing one of their hats. Now, before we get started, one last big announcement. We're also giving away a full-sized arcade machine from our friends at Arcade 1UP at the end of this month. To be eligible for the prize, you must play at least 1 full week of trivia in the next 4 weeks and use your share link to invite at least 1 friend. More info on this giveaway in our Discord. Now, let's begin the Spook Show with question 1. Who was the original killer in Friday the 13th? Is it A, Pamela Voorhees, B, Jason Voorhees, C, Freddy Krueger, or D, Michael Myers? Well, the original Friday the 13th film, released in 1980, was a unique take on the popular slasher genre at the time. The killer in this film is none other than A, Pamela Voorhees, who is Jason Voorhees' mother. The film sees a young Jason being bullied at summer camp until he is eventually drowned in the lake, and upon hearing the news, Pamela Voorhees, wearing her signature baby blue sweater, proceeds to go on a killing spree at the summer camp to get revenge on her murdered child. Jason would go on to wear his famous hockey mask in the second film and remain the killer for the rest of the franchise. Now, moving on to question 2. What is the first horror film to be nominated for an Academy Award for Best Picture? Is it A, Rosemary's Baby, B, Creepshow, C, The Exorcist, or D, Halloween? Well, directed by the legendary director William Friedkin, the first horror film to be honored with Best Picture nomination was C, The Exorcist. The Exorcist was in fact nominated for 10 Academy Awards and took home the prize for Best Adapted Screenplay and Best Sound. Check out this famous scene from The Exorcist.
And the Holy Spirit, by this sign of the Holy Cross of our Lord Jesus Christ, who lives and reigns with the Father and the Holy Spirit. Damien!
Well, that was insane. And the power of Christ compels us to go on to question 3. Which classic horror movie was originally titled The Babysitter Murders? Is it A, A Nightmare on Elm Street, B, Halloween, C, Scream, or D, It Follows? Well, one of the most famous horror franchises of all time, featuring a masked killer with a kitchen knife named Michael Myers, the answer is B, Halloween. Starring Jamie Lee Curtis playing the babysitter Laurie Strode, the original Halloween film almost never happened. It was rejected by nearly every film studio until the producers secured about $300,000 of independent financing and had the script, penned by John Carpenter, written in about 2 weeks. The film went on to be a cult classic and spawned one of the most beloved horror franchises of all time. Now, let's move on to question 4. In the original Scream film, what is Randy's #1 rule for surviving a horror movie? Is it A, don't go outside, B, don't drink or do drugs, C, don't have sex, or D, don't say, I'll be right back? Randy's character, played by Jamie Kennedy, is a self-proclaimed movie buff who loves horror movies. During a party, Randy rifles off a few key rules for surviving a horror movie, but his #1 rule is C, don't have sex. The other rules include don't drink or do drugs, and never, under any circumstances, say, I'll be right back. Because let's face it, you won't. Scream is one of the most popular horror franchises of all time, with its titular character Ghostface wearing the best-selling Halloween mask of all time. Final question of the day, question 5. Which horror film spawned the Annabelle movie franchise? Is it A, The Conjuring, B, Insidious, C, The Puppet Master, or D, Dead Silence? Well, the terrifying Annabelle doll is truly something right out of my nightmares. The film serves as a prequel to our answer, A, The Conjuring. Directed by James Wan, The Conjuring is based on real-life demonologist Edward and Lorraine Warren's most famous paranormal investigation. In 1970, the couple travels to Rhode Island to investigate the haunting of the Perrone family farmhouse. James Wan, who also directed the original Saw film, firmly solidified himself as a master of horror and would definitely give you the chills with this film, The Conjuring. And that concludes our first day of Avogacci's Spooky Movie Trivia. Thank you so much for playing, and thank you to our sponsors, Avogacci, for making this happen. Make sure you jump in our Discord, discord.gg/Freckle, to be included in our weekly prize raffles. Remember to share your private invite link to earn more raffle tickets and increase your chances of winning and grow our amazing Freckle family. We'll be back again tomorrow for another round of Spooky Trivia, and we'll see you then. What's up, Freckle family? Welcome back. It's Tuesday, August 9th, and I'm your daily trivia host, Ian Feiner, aka Lord Trivia himself. Freckle Daily Trivia consists of 5 everyday questions with weekly rotating topics. Each day you play earns you a raffle ticket towards amazing weekly prize draws like NFT airdrops, whitelist, toys, collectibles, and more. This week, we are partnering with one of my favorite projects in the space, the ghost with the most, Avogacci, for an entire week of spooky trivia. So I'll be asking you about all things related to horror movies, spooky lore, scary characters, and more things that go bump in the night. Avogacci is an amazing project with an incredibly deep ecosystem filled with opportunities. Avogacci is also the NFT gaming protocol behind one of 2022's most anticipated NFT games, the Gotchiverse. Check out this video from Avogacci.
The Gotchiverse is an MMORPG where players use Avogacci NFTs as their Web3 avatar to build harvesters, reservoirs, decorations, and other NFT installations on their Gotchiverse land parcels. Chat with friends to coordinate alchemical channeling plans, or simply add a GM using in-game chat, text bubbles, and emotes. Defend the Citadel from the feared Avogacci arch nemesis, the Liquidators, and farm your land parcels for FUD, FOMO, Alpha, and CAT. ERC20 tokens, collectively known as Gotchis Alchemica, the 4 elements of the Gotchiverse.
Don't miss out on 2022's most anticipated NFT game, the Gotchiverse. Head over to Avogacci.com to learn more and follow Avogacci on Twitter for all the latest updates. Prizes this week include an incredible lineup of NFTs from the Gotchi Gang, including this Gen 1 Spook Show Avogacci. Check this thing out. It's worth well over $1,000 USD. Also up for grabs are prizes from our amazing prize sponsors at Funko Pop Toys, NFT Laser Engraver, Stance Socks, Roosevelt's Diamond Select Collectibles, and a whole bunch of other spooky themed prizes, like this shirt from our friends at Culture Kings. Everyone loves the Hellfire Club and the new season of Stranger Things. Thank you, Culture Kings, for hooking us up. I'm wearing the Culture Kings hat, the Culture Kings shirt. I'm gonna be wearing Culture Kings all week. Now, before we get started, want to make this announcement one last time. It's a big one. We're giving away a full-sized arcade machine from Arcade 1UP at the end of this month. To be eligible for this prize, you must play at least one full week of trivia in the next 4 weeks, and there's more info on this in our Discord. Now, let's get it going with the first question. Which film is not based on a book by Stephen King? Is it A, The Dead Zone, B, Rosemary's Baby, C, Cujo, or D, Pet Sematary? Well, Stephen King is the true literary master of horror and gave us hits like Cujo, Pet Sematary, It, and so many more. The answer, B, Rosemary's Baby, however, is based on a book by Ira Levin. Directed by Roman Polanski in 1968, the film received critical acclaim and several accolades, including a Golden Globe and Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress. Fun fact, a few of the actors and cast members think the film is cursed and reference a number of strange supernatural happenings during the film's production. Pretty spooky stuff. Now, moving on to question 2, The Shining. What room should you stay away from? Is it A, 237, B, 121, C, 666, or D, 13? Well, also based on a book by Stephen King, The Shining was directed by legendary filmmaker Stanley Kubrick and stars Jack Nicholson. The film sees a family traveling to the spooky Overlook Hotel, where he is told not to go into room A, 237. Kubrick took a small liberty with that number, choosing to go with 237 instead of the book's 217. Stephen King is allegedly not a fan of the film at all, but that didn't stop it from becoming one of the most highly regarded supernatural thrillers of all time. Now, moving on to question 3, which of the following horror films can double as a Christmas movie? Is it A, The Nightmare on Elm Street, B, House on Haunted Hill, C, Gremlins, or D, Jeepers Creepers? Well, this is one of my favorite films of all time. The answer is C, Gremlins. The black comedy horror film starts off with a cute and cuddly Christmas gift, a mogwai named Gizmo, and ends in a blood-soaked nightmare. Taking care of the mogwai seems simple enough. Just follow 3 rules. Don't let it come in contact with light, don't let it get wet, and most importantly, do not feed the mogwai after midnight. Breaking the 3rd rule causes the gizmo to spawn the reptilian creatures called gremlins that go on to terrorize and wreak havoc in the town of Kingston. Do not feed your gizmo after midnight. Moving on to question 4. What is the horror movie that features a killer in a mask inspired by this Edvard Munch painting seen here? Is it A, Friday the 13th, B, Scream, C, Halloween, or D, Hellraiser? Well, the answer is B, Scream. Munch's painting titled The Scream is the main source of influence for Ghostface's famous mask in the film. One evening, toward the end of the 19th century, Edvard Munch was strolling with 2 friends on the outskirts of Oslo when he was suddenly overwhelmed with despondency. He leaned against the fence and said, "Tired to death." He remained there, and his friends walked on, and recounted how, shaking with angst, I felt the great American scream in nature. Really famous painting. Moving on to the final question of the day. Who directed the film The Lost Boys? Is it A, Tony Scott, B, John Carpenter, C, Steven Spielberg, or D, Wes Craven? Well, another personal favorite of mine, The Lost Boys, was not directed by the horror legends Carpenter or Craven, but instead by Tony Scott. The answer is A. Ridley Scott's brother, Tony, is an 80s movie darling and has directed popular films like Top Gun and Beverly Hills Cop. The Lost Boys sees Tony Scott lending his signature style to the Californian sun-soaked vampire flick starring Kiefer Sutherland and Corey Feldman. And that concludes today's game of spooky movie trivia. Thank you so much for playing, and thank you to our sponsors, Avogacci, for making this happen. Make sure you jump in our Discord, discord.gg/Freckle, to be included in our weekly prize raffles. Also remember to share your private invite link and earn more raffle tickets and include yourself in our big monthly raffle for the Arcade 1-Up arcade machine. We'll be back again tomorrow for another round of spooky trivia, and thanks for playing. What's up, Freckle family? Welcome back. It's Wednesday, August 10th, and I'm your daily trivia host, Ian Finer, aka Lord Trivia himself. Freckle Daily Trivia consists of 5 everyday questions with weekly rotating topics. Each day you play earns you a raffle ticket towards amazing weekly prize draws like NFT airdrops, whitelist, toys, collectibles, and more. This week, we are partnering with one of my favorite projects in the space, the ghost with the most, Avogacci, for an entire week of spooky trivia. So I'll be asking you all things related to horror movies, spooky lore, scary characters, and more things that go bump in the night. Avogacci is an amazing project with an incredibly deep ecosystem filled with opportunities. Avogacci is also the NFT gaming protocol behind 2022's most anticipated NFT game, the Gotchiverse. Check out this video from Avogacci.
The Gotchiverse is an MMORPG where players use Avogacci NFTs as their Web3 avatar to build harvesters, reservoirs, decorations, and other NFT installations on their Gotchiverse land parcels. Chat with friends to coordinate alchemical channeling plans, or simply add a GM using in-game chat, text bubbles, and emotes. Defend the Citadel from the feared Avogacci arch-nemesis, the Liquidators, and farm your land parcels for FUD, FOMO, Alpha, and CAT. ERC20 tokens, collectively known as Gotchis Alchemica, the 4 elements of the Gotchiverse.
Don't miss out on 2022's most anticipated NFT game. Head over to Avogacci.com to learn more and follow @Avogacci on Twitter for all the latest updates. Prizes this week include an incredible lineup of NFTs from the Gotchi Gang, including this Gen 1 Spook Show Avogacci worth well over 1,000 USD. Also up for grabs are prizes from our amazing prize sponsors at Funko Pop Toys, NFT Laser Engravers, Diamond Select Collectibles, Bandai Stance, Roosevelt's, tons of great prizes, including this spooky-themed Lost Boys shirt that I probably should have worn yesterday when I asked the Lost Boys question. Now, let's go on to question 1. What Hitchcock film features this iconic composition heard here? Is it A, The Birds, B, Vertigo, C, Frenzy, or D, Psycho? Well, English filmmaker Alfred Hitchcock is regarded as one of the most influential filmmakers in history and is known as the master of suspense. His films garnered over 46 Academy Award nominations throughout his career and is the subject of entire curriculums in film schools worldwide. Arguably his best-known film is also our answer, D, Psycho. Psycho is the best performing film of Hitchcock's career, which has seen sequels, spin-offs, TV shows, and more. The theme song is aptly named The Murder and was composed by Bernard Herrmann. Now moving on to question 2, what was the original title for the film The Blob? Is it A, The Glob, B, It's Alive, C, The Grotesque, or D, The Jelly Creature? Well, The Blob is a 1958 horror sci-fi classic starring the legendary Steve McQueen. A drive-in movie favorite, The Blob sees McQueen and his girlfriend trying to protect their hometown from the giant, gelatinous alien lifeform that seems to engulf everything in its path. The original name for The Blob was A, The Glob. The Blob was revolutionary in its creature design, and it was made out of silicone and bucket loads of colored dye. The only way to stop the Blob was with extreme amounts of cold, which led the Air Force to transport the Blob to Antarctica at the end of the film. Now, next question, question 3. What is the name of the summer camp where Jason Voorhees drowns? Is it A, Camp Summer, B, Camp Fridays, C, Camp Happy Time, or D, Camp Crystal Lake? Jason Voorhees, commonly just referred to as Jason, is the masked killer in the Friday the 13th films. Bullied at camp, Jason is eventually drowned in Crystal Lake, giving us our answer, D, Camp Crystal Lake. If you played Monday's game, you already know that the first film sees Jason's mother, Pamela, as the killer. But future films feature Jason wearing his signature hockey mask and wielding a machete. Fun fact, there have been over 8 different actors to play Jason across 12 films from 1980 to 2009. But by Hollywood standards, we're long overdue for a reboot. Let's see it. Next question, question 4. Which spooky Disney film was banned in Denmark? Is it A, Coraline, B, The Nightmare Before Christmas, C, The Skeleton Dance, or D, Fantasia? Well, the answer is C, The Skeleton Dance. The Skeleton Dance is a 1929 silly symphony animated short film produced and directed by Walt Disney and animated by Ube Earworks. In the film, 4 human skeletons dance and make music around a spooky graveyard, a modern example of medieval European danse macabre imagery. The film was banned in Denmark for being too macabre. You can see a clip of this film and other silly symphony horror animations in the header video of our website right now. For question 5, let's head to the Addams Family house and check out this clip of Wednesday Addams reciting a cute little poem.
I have a gloomy little spider. I love to sit down close beside her. She never knows where she has been, 'cause all she does is spin and spin. My spider's quite a busy roamer, which is why I called her.
What is the name of Wednesday Addams' pet spider? Is it A, Walter, B, Homer, C, Arachnid, or D, Mikey? Well, Wednesday Addams is too adorable. A fan favorite of the Addams family, Wednesday had a pet lizard named Lucifer, a headless doll named Marie Antoinette, a pet octopus named Aristotle and later Socrates, and a black widow spider named B, Homer. The Addams Family started off as a single-panel cartoon created by Charles Addams. It went on to be adapted as a television show, a film series, and a soon-to-be-released Netflix show called Wednesday that focuses primarily on Wednesday Addams' character. And that concludes today's round of Gotchi Spooky Trivia. Thank you so much for playing, and make sure you jump in our Discord, discord.gg/Freckle, to be included in our weekly prize raffles. We'll be back again for another round of spooky movie trivia, and thank you. What's up, Freckle family? Welcome back. It's Thursday, August 11th, and I'm your daily trivia host, Ian Feiner, aka Lord Trivia himself. Freckle Daily Trivia consists of 5 everyday questions with weekly rotating topics. Each day you play earns you a raffle ticket towards amazing weekly prize draws like NFT airdrops, whitelist, toys, collectibles, and more. This week, we are partnering with one of my favorite projects in the space, the ghost with the most, Avagachi, for an entire week of spooky movie trivia. So I'll be asking you all things related to horror movies, spooky lore, scary characters, and more things that go bump in the night. Avagachi is an amazing project with an incredibly deep ecosystem filled with opportunities. Avagachi is also the NFT gaming protocol behind one of the most anticipated NFT games of 2022, the Gotchiverse. Check out this video from Avagachi.
The Gotchiverse is an MMORPG where players use Avagachi NFTs as their Web3 avatar to build harvesters, reservoirs, decorations, and other NFT installations on their Gotchiverse land parcels. Chat with friends to coordinate alchemical channeling plans, or simply add a GM using in-game chat, text bubbles, and emotes. Defend the Citadel from the feared Avagachi arch nemesis, the Liquidators, and farm your land parcels for FUD, FOMO, Alpha, and CAT. ERC20 tokens, collectively known as Gotchis Alchemica, the 4 elements of the Gotchiverse.
Don't miss out on 2022's most anticipated NFT game. Head over to Avagachi.com to learn more and follow @Avagachi on Twitter for all the latest updates. Prizes this week include an incredible lineup of NFTs from the Gotchi Gang, including this Gen 1 Spook Show Avagachi. Look at how cute this thing is. worth well over 1,000 USD. Also up for grabs are amazing prizes from our sponsors at Funko Pop Toys, NFT Laser Engravers, Culture Kings, Diamond Select Toys. The list just goes on and on. We're going to give away some awesome spooky themed prizes this week. Now, let's get things started with question 1. Who was the original author of Frankenstein? Is it A, Arthur Conan Doyle, B, Stephen King, C, Mary Shelley, or D, Dan Brown? It's a lie! Frankenstein was written by C, Mary Shelley, and tells the story of a Victor Frankenstein, the young scientist who creates a sapient creature in an unorthodox scientific experiment. The book is written in an epistolary format, which is a series of documents or letters or journal entries composed into a single narrative. The book is also written from the POV of Dr. Frankenstein and the monster himself. Frankenstein has seen a number of on-screen adaptations and is considered a pop culture monster movie icon. Now, moving on to question 2. What was the first mainstream Hollywood film to feature a werewolf? Is it A, Werewolf of London, B, An American Werewolf in Paris, C, Howl, or D, Fright Night? Well, this was definitely a hard question. Released by Universal Pictures in 1935, the answer is A, Werewolf of London. After the previous success of monster movie adaptation of Frankenstein, Universal was hell-bent on producing another film of the same genre. Werewolf of London was the first Hollywood film to feature a werewolf and went on as the inspiration for modern-day werewolf movies such as An American Werewolf in London, Wolf, and many others. The film also helped Universal solidify themselves as the monster movie studio, producing other classic films like The Mummy, Dracula, and more. Next question, question 3. What film features the creepy character seen here, known as Count Orlok? Is it A, Dracula, B, Les Vampires, C, Nosferatu, or D, The Count? Well, the silent German film released in 1922, the answer is C, Nosferatu, which is an unlicensed and unofficial adaptation of Bram Stoker's Dracula. Count Orlok is one of the most recognizable vampiric figures worldwide, and the film gave us much of that vampire lore that is still present today in modern-day vamp stories, such as the sensitivity to sunlight. Now, moving on to the next question. Do you want to play a game? Is a quote and the tagline from what horror franchise? Is it A, The Game, B, Phantasm, C, Saw, or D, The Candyman? Well, this film basically pioneered an entire subgenre of horror. The answer is C, Saw. Directed by James Wan and starring Cary Elwes, Saw is a low-budget horror film that takes place mostly in one location. When two men wake up trapped by the deadly Jigsaw killer, they soon realize the only way to escape is by playing Jigsaw's game and unraveling the mystery of why they were both chosen as victims. The film has seen one too many sequels, with the most recent film, Jigsaw, starring Chris Rock. Sorry, Chris Rock. Final question of the day. Be afraid, be very afraid, is the quote and tagline from what horror film? Is it A, The Fly, B, Get Out, C, It, or D, The Night of the Living Dead? Well, the answer is A, The Fly. When scientist Seth Brundle, played by Jeff Goldblum, completes his teleportation device, he decides to test its abilities on himself. Unbeknownst to him, a housefly slips in during the process, leading to a merger of man and insect. Released in 1986 and directed by David Cronenberg, The Fly is a prime example of a subgenre of horror known as body horror. Goldblum slowly and grotesquely transforms from man to fly with the help of some pretty impressive makeup and practical effects. The film is not for the squeamish, but it certainly is a horror classic. And that concludes today's round of Avogacci Spooky Movie Trivia. Thank you so much for playing, and make sure you jump in our Discord, discord.gg/Freckle, to be included in our weekly prize raffles. Remember, share your private invite link to earn more raffle tickets and increase your chances of winning one of our prizes. Also, sharing your invite link and having someone join and play is a requirement to be entered in for the big prize raffle at the end of the month for the Arcade 1-Up full-size arcade machine. We'll be back again tomorrow for another round of Spooky Movie Trivia. See you then. What's up, Freckle family? Welcome back, TGIF. It's Friday, August 12th, and today is sadly our last day of Spooky Movie Trivia. As always, I'm your daily trivia host, Ian Feiner, aka Lord Trivia himself. Freckle Daily Trivia consists of 5 everyday questions with weekly rotating topics. Each day you play earns you a raffle ticket towards amazing weekly prizes, including NFT airdrops, toys, collectibles, and more. This week, we've been partnering with one of my favorite projects in the space, the ghost with the most, Avogacci, for this entire week of spooky trivia. So I've been asking you about all things related to horror movies, spooky lore, scary characters, and more things that go bump in the night. Avogacci is an amazing project with an incredibly deep ecosystem filled with insane opportunities. Avogacci is also the NFT gaming protocol behind 2022's most anticipated game, the Gotchiverse. Check out this video from Avogacci.
The Gotchiverse is an MMORPG where players use Avogacci NFTs as their Web3 avatar to build harvesters, reservoirs, decorations, and other NFT installations on their Gotchiverse land parcels. Chat with friends to coordinate alchemical channeling plans, or simply add a GM using in-game chat, text bubbles, and emotes. Defend the Citadel from the feared Avogacci arch-nemesis, the Liquidators, and farm your land parcels for FUD, FOMO, Alpha, and CAT. ERC20 tokens, collectively known as Gotchis Alchemica, the 4 elements of the Gotchiverse.
Don't miss out on one of 2022's most anticipated NFT games. Head over to Avogacci.com to learn more and follow @Avogacci on Twitter for all the latest updates. Prizes this week include an incredible lineup of NFTs from the Gotchi gang, including this Gen 1 Spook Show Avogacci, worth well over 1,000 USD. Also up for grabs are prizes from our amazing prize sponsors at Funko Pop Toys, NFT Laser Engravers, Stance, Roosevelt's, Bandai, Diamond Select, and more spooky-themed prizes. Now, let's start the beginning of the end with question 1. Where does Dario Argento's horror masterpiece, Suspiria, take place? Is it A, a hotel, B, an insane asylum, C, a summer camp, or D, a dance academy? Well, Dario Argento is a master of horror and created a truly nightmarish fairy tale with his film Suspiria. The film chronicles supernatural and violent happenings at a dance academy in Berlin, Germany. Characters disappear and are killed off in a spectacular fashion as the dancers begin to discover the truth behind the wicked dance academy and its secret underground chambers. The film, shot in a beautiful 3-strip Technicolor process, gives the film its unique and signature look that's both colorful and dreamlike. The film was also recently rebooted, though the original is regarded as a significantly better film. I can attest to that. Don't even bother with the reboot. Go watch Dario Argento's original Suspiria movie. Next question, question 2. Who wrote The Invisible Man, The Island of Dr. Moreau, and The War of the Worlds? Is it A, Henry James, B, Philip K. Dick, C, Mary Shelley, or D, H.G. Wells? Well, known for writing over 50 sci-fi horror classics, including The Time Machine, the answer is D, H.G. Wells. Wells's work blended the lines between dystopic and sci-fi horror, with many of his books becoming feature film and television adaptations. Interestingly enough, many of his books featured futuristic predictions that have all come true, like the development of the internet, space travel, and nuclear weapons. If you haven't read anything from H.G. Wells, I suggest reading The Time Machine. Now, moving on to question 3. Leatherface is known for wielding this iconic instrument of death. Is it A, an axe, B, a chainsaw, or B, a machete, C, a chainsaw, or D, a scythe? Well, horror fans know that Leatherface is the villain of the classic film Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which gives us our answer, C, a chainsaw. The film series sees a psychotic family of murderers, including Leatherface, capture and torture a van of teen travelers in Northwest Texas. It's supposedly inspired by a true story, which just adds to its chilling legacy. Now moving on to question 4. In the Halloween film franchise, the killer Michael Myers wears a mask based on which celebrity? Is it A, Donald Trump, B, William Shatner, C, John Wayne, or D, Brad Pitt? Well, it had been rumored and joked about in Hollywood for decades that the mask of the killer Michael Myers wore in the Halloween films was in fact based on B, William Shatner's face. And not just his face, but specifically a Captain Kirk death mask created for Star Trek. As it turns out, the anecdote and joke is very true. The Hollywood production designer confirmed that when searching for spooky inspiration in different prop houses around Hollywood, he found an unpainted Captain Kirk mask that ended up being used in the original film. Absolutely terrifying. Now, for our final question of the week, let's watch a quick video.
Closer, please. Closer. That expires in 1 week. You're not real FBI, are you?
In The Silence of the Lambs, what insect featured on the main poster is also stuffed into the mouths of the killer's victims? Is it A, a cicada, B, a moth, C, a butterfly, or D, a grasshopper? Well, The Silence of the Lambs is one of my father's favorite films, and he probably let me watch it at too young of an age, which certainly explains a lot. The film features a young FBI agent tasked with bringing down a serial killer known as Buffalo Bill. To do so, she gets help from another serial killer known as Hannibal Lecter, played by Anthony Hopkins. The killer places B, a dead head hawk moth, into the mouths of the victims, and said moth is prominently featured on the movie's theatrical poster over the mouth of Clarice Starling. The moth gets its foreboding name from the fact that it has a white mark resembling a human skull on its upper body. And that concludes our week of Avagachi's spooky movie trivia. Thanks so much for playing, and make sure you jump on our Discord, discord.gg/Freckle, to be included in our weekly prize raffles. Remember to share that private invite link and earn more raffle tickets, increase your chances of winning, and grow our awesome Freckle family. Also, big thank you to our sponsors for the week, Avagachi. To learn more about their incredible project and the game, The Gotchiverse, make sure you head to www.avagachi.com. We'll be back again for another week of an incredible collaboration. Next week's trivia is cartoon trivia with our friends at the Cryptoon Goons. We'll see you next week, and have a great weekend.